Okay, next. The update of the science of fingerprints of the FBI that was updated in 1987. Same. For classifying and general searching, W is used to indicate all word types below the fingerprint flag. And I'd like to make a note that based on the FBI, the science of fingerprint classification, the science of fingerprints classification and uses, in the old version, plain word is symbolized by capital W. But the update, so it's updated 1987, it is no longer symbolized by capital W, but letter P, capital letter P. That is, of course, in line with the NCIC classification. Because at that time, it is already in its infancy. So, that is just an update. Okay, please. But, in the book of William Leo is an authority, and this book is being used for trainings in International Association for Identification. According to Leo, all words symbolized by W. Please, sir. It is symbolized by W. That was according to Leo. All words. Of course, that includes accidental. Please. Back. Melcon, back. After. Next is loop elements issue. Another issue that we have to consider. I do not know if you will agree on this, but this is just fitting together two things. Common concepts. There is an express inclusion of the core as part of the elements of a loop. Common concepts. Tingnan natin sa books. It must have a core. Another book, there must be a delta and core. Reviewer, tingnan natin sa reviewer. Click, sir. It must have a delta and a core. So, the common concept that we hold is that core is included in the basic elements. There is an express inclusion of that. Tingnan natin sa standard references. Ito lang. That is found in page 19. But fingerprint training manual. Okay. Earlier, Ma'am Ruby pointed out about the concept of globalization. Now, do we follow standard, or do we have to follow our own? Is there a difference really of using chords, expressing it in the elements, or do we follow what the standard say? Okay. Another is loop type and symbol issue. It's another problem that I have covered. Common concept, and in fact, I saw this one this morning. Radial and older loops given slash or slant symbol according to the flow bridges. Meaning there is no difference between older and radial in blocking out. What does the standard reference say? Radial loop, capital letter R in index figures, R, small letter R in other figures. Whereas it is only older loop, which is given this now. Okay. Actually, there is not much problem with that. But what I saw as a problem among students is the identification of the pattern itself. So let us first consider on that topic, identification of whether it is radial or ulnar loop. Based on that definition, we have to follow the concept on ridges, the flow of ridges. If it is flowing towards the little finger, then that is known as ulnar loop. Tongue towards the tongue.
We would like to acknowledge the presence or arrival of our next muscular guard from the Philippine National Police. Let's give them a warm round of applause. Okay, but for now, Sir Melcon will continue his very interesting discussion about common concept vis-a-vis standard references.
Okay. Per my observation, the confusion is on the failure to recognize the definition as referring to the finger and not to the fingerprint. Okay? See there. Remember that a fingerprint is a mirror image of the patterns of fingers. It is somewhat different direction already. The flow of ridges indicator, based on the definition, it's not applicable to fingerprint card, or it's not applicable to fingerprint, except in the right hand in the fingerprint card. Let us consider first the fingerprint card. Please, sir. Flow of ridges that is pointing towards the little finger. Okay. And the in that instance, the flow of ridges indicator is true to a right hand in the fingerprint card. But what about in the left hand? That is why we say it is ulnar loop. Here is a situation that the flow reaches towards the little finger, but that is in the left hand. It is the true to left hand in the fingerprint card. That is why in the statement of the FBI, I'd like to take the statement of the FBI, please, next. According to the FBI, loops, there are words that is based on the way the loops flow on the hand and not to the heart. So that should be very clear. And then, as instructors, as professors, as trainers, we have the obligation to clarify that particular problem, because that is a proven observation among students. They can hardly distinguish loop from ulnar. This is a good rule of thumb, and I saw this one, although this is not found in the book, but this is fair observation. I saw this one in the American Institute of Applied Science, in their training manual. The good rule of thumb is that know what hand, either right or left, the loop was found. And second, know what side, either right or left, the delta was found. Try to consider this one. We have to remember the concept of ulnar loop, opposite direction. What is that opposite direction? We will be able to see that one. We have here a situation where the loop is found on the right hand. Take note where the delta is located. On the left side. That is why I said opposite direction. The pattern or the loop is found in the right hand, the delta is on the left side. What about in the left hand? If it is on the left hand, the delta is on the right side. So we have here the concept of opposite direction. What about radial? Same direction, the concept of same direction. So if it is on the right hand, the delta is on the right side. If it is on the left hand, the delta also is on the left side. To summarize, we have here the difference between older loop and radial loop. So flow bridges towards the little finger, as well as the other one towards the thumb. And the concept of opposite direction in the case of older loop, and the other one same direction. But that is only for purposes of clarity. As instructors, we have to clarify it to our students. How do we be able to distinguish radial from older loop? Next. Okay, next one. Next. Back. The next issue is about reach counting. I think this may surprise you. Reach counting, incipient reach issue. Common concepts, reach counting rule, incipient reach not counted. I'm after on the terminology, the use of the terminology reach, incipient reach in classification, because there is no doubt that incipient reach is included in the parlance of fingerprint identification. But as to the issue on whether it is included in classification, let us see. Let us first consider what is incipient reach. From the definition of the SWAG-FAST, standard terminology of facial reach examination. A facial reach not fully developed that may appear shorter and thinner than fully developed facial reaches. At this point, I'd like to point out that in the classification, I think there is no occasion yet to be very precise as to whether it is incipient reach or simply a fragment, a product of dirt whatsoever. Because unlike in identification, the examination of the reach is more prying. It is more going into the detail of the facial reach. But in the classification, it is a little about a cursory look, unlike in identification. In the fingerprint terms of I don't know, the Mitchell triplets, he never. Sir Joy, is he a male or a female? I'm not very sure. But Bishop Triplet never gave a detailed discussion of incipient reach from where to where. He gave, and then there is no mention of incipient reach in connection with counting in fingerprint classification. Wala din na. Okay, balikan natin sa one. Please. Among books, tingnan natin sa books. Click, sir. Sa libro, sa rules on reach counting, incipient reaches are never counted or included. There was that statement. Okay. Another book, incipient reaches are not counted. Incipient reaches are not counted. There, you have an enlarged part. Okay, sir. Let go of article. We'll go to board question. This is a board question. A rates token or fine compared to other regular rates, which is not included as a rates count, even if it has been across the imaginary line. Well, obviously that already came into our board examination. Please. In the fingerprint, the size of fingerprints by the FBI, tingnan natin. Particularly on the role of rates counting. Inclusion of recipient rates rule is parang ano na natin, hindi natin na-click yung iba. Balikan natin. Yeah. Kung tingnan natin sa rules sa rates counting in the book of the FBI, there was no mention about recipient rates. But the FBI mentioned only fragments and dots. And they are to be counted, they are thick and heavy as other cases. Tingnan natin sa update nila, baka meron. Fingerprint training manual. Click, sir. Ganun pa rin. Fragments and dots are counted as ridges. Only they appear as thick as the surrounding ridges. There was no mention of insensitivities. My question is, in what is the origin of the concept of recipient ridges coming in to the concept of classification? We cannot answer that through standard reference. Please. Yes, sir. According to the FBI, it is not a ridge. Tingnan natin ang sabi ng FBI. Yung ganyan, no? Because based on books, that could be interpreted as incipient ridge because it is protein. Click, sir, para ma-emphasize natin. Lighter lines are caused by splitting over fraying of the ridges. These lines are not considered ridges and should not be counted. There was no mention of incipient ridge. So obviously, in the classification, there was no mention of incipient ridge. Third, continue. That is why we'll be left with a question which should be followed. Which statement is more authoritative and widely used worldwide? See? We are left with that question. Okay. Next is about secondary classification, the world symbol. This has been partly taken up this morning. Common concepts, words being symbolized by particular type. Tignan natin. In fact, this morning, this is an evidence that this is our common concept. Yes, you have that. Plain word, W, central pocket of words, click, sir. There is particular type. Okay. In the standard references, tingnan natin. All word types are being symbolized by capital letter W. That's in the FBI. Next. Back. Okay. We have an observation. It is often reasoned out that we have our modified system of classification. But I also have a question. Is there such a printout or a black and white statement, manual, for example, telling us that there is modified system of classification? Please, sir. You've seen this one. The book, no? Please click. Emphasize. Capital letter C, D, X, out of the blocks for the index figures. That is said to be the NBI modified form. Is there such a published manual, just like the FBI? That is my question. And the reason given is millions. Yet, in the FBI, they are already mentioning billions. Right. It is not a product of convention. And of course, there is no imprimatur from the agency. Unlike in the US, there is the stamp of the agency's mark. That is an FBI recognized method. We have it here in the Philippines. It's my question. Most probably my research is not so extensive. That is why maybe my question will be answered later on. Next is about another secondary classification. Terminology issue. This is another problem. Common concept. Capital letter group. Okay, let's consider that one. Capital letter group. Another. Capital letter group. Third. Okay. Either. Capital letter group. Yung viewer yan. Pero ang tanong natin, meron bang ganyan sa standard? Okay. In the standard, there was no mention about capital letter group. Only capital letter. Tingnan natin. Enlarge the design. See? Secondary and small letter group. Obviously, we add something. No? That is one of the problems that we have right now. We added something. Please continue. Factor. No? Walang ganyan, ha? In the FBI. According to the FBI, kung tingnan natin ang work ng FBI about secondary at saka small letter, by capital letters, that was the statement of the FBI, representing the basic types of patterns appearing in the index figures of each hand. In other words, the mere statement of secondary classification is per se, capital letter. There is no need to set out that it is capital letter group or small letter group. Most probably, there is what we call as inductive reasoning. Since there is small letter group, most probably there should be capital letter group. Possibly, that is the reasoning. Next. Another issue, to overdo or not to do. Grabe itong issue nito. To overdo the dash or to do away with the dash. You know what I mean? Using dash not only in secondary classification. Okay. Sige, sir. Kung tingnan natin, hindi lang sa secondary, but also in the sub-secondary. Next, sir. Sige, sir. Dash is being used. Next. Final classification. Dash is being used. I have browsed several books there in fingerprint. Grabe. Even major key classification and other classification, in the absence of any data, that is the necessity of putting dash. And if there is one side, the other side to the extreme is that no dash. Because the reason is that after all, in defining, there is no dash. That's another problematic statement. Tingnan natin, sir. No dash sa standard. So that's the difference between the two. To put a dash and to do away with the dash. Yes, sir. Ano nangyari? Ha? Ano nangyari sa dash? Okay, fine. Back, sir. That reasoning, there is no dash in the final sequence. That is based on, that is without facts. Because in the fingerprint training manual, there is a final sequence based on dash. Tingnan ninyo. Ang unang sequence, dash, dash in the denominator. And then dash in the denominator. And no dashes in the denominator. So that statement falls short on the manual itself. No? There is no dash because, after all, there is no dash in the final sequence. That. The standard reference. If you will research in the internet at saka i-type nyo kung meron bang dash dun sa FBI manual, i-click natin sir para makita. There is only one item. Dash, isa lang makita natin. Ang dash is found only in the secondary classification. Never in all other classifications. Yes. And the same is true with the latest manual of the FBI. Dashes are used in the formula to indicate an honor loop for a word intervening between the index finger and the first small letter. See, that is in the secondary classification. Okay, sir. Okay. That is that particular presentation from low-tech recognized publisher for a lot of IAI books. Dashes used to indicate positional figures not containing of plain R's, blended R's, or rated in the secondary classification. But there is no mention of other classifications. Yes, sir. Key classification, word reads counted issue. Tingnan ninyo, ang word, common concept. Kung walang loop, if there's no loop, word reads counted with the same rule with final classification. I've encountered that a lot of times in the review. But standard references, if there is no loop, no key classification. Wait. And the last one, we have the final classification. Two little fingers are being, it's counted and then it is placed on both the numerator and denominator. That is the common concept. But based on standard, only one final classification. It looks over are presented. Okay. Based on the FBI and based on, okay sir, back. Now we'll go to my personal view, conclusion. The list of inconsistencies are only a partial picture. In fact, I have noticed this morning that in the blacking out, other than index figures, other figures are being capitalized. That is another list, no? That will add to that list. Further. Personally, look, and it is not exhaustive and needs a full-blown study. There should have been a full-blown study on this matter. And it is just a topic on fingerprint pattern and classification. It is only one topic, fingerprint classification. I tell you, the problem even reads on history, about history. That statement, who is the father of dactyloscopy? Who is the grandfather of dactyloscopy? That statement that it should be Perkin J. and Malpighi. Those are just product of one person's mind. It will look hard. I read an old newspaper that is published in the internet, sometime 1930s. And that was just based on his interview. But how come we accept these things as gospel truth. Yet there is no such convention. Okay. Problem not just happening in the Philippines, even outside, there are problems. There are lots of problems. And it is more the market absence of following standard references may be based as there are number of authors, as there are number of instructors, and so are problems with inconsistencies. May narinig pa ang isa. I do not tell you what book was that. What was the technique from? Ang isang book sabi, may big, may small dash, at saka big dash. The problem will arise as there are authors and there are structures. So, yan ang problema natin. Yes, continue please. Law enforcement agencies and academies adopting a modified method based on their statements.